The Maya civilization was one of the most advanced and powerful ancient civilization. They predicted eclipses thousands of years in advance, built cities that housed millions, and then just vanished. In less than a century, the Maya went from the peak of power to completely abandoning their greatest cities. What could destroy a civilization that had thrived for over 2,000 years? We're diving into one of history's greatest mysteries, the collapse of the Maya civilization. This isn't just another ancient history lesson. We're talking about a sophisticated society that suddenly crumbled, leaving behind clues that might be a warning for our own future. Let's start with just how incredible the Maya were. We're talking about the classical period, roughly 250 to 900 CE. Picture this. While Europe was stumbling through the Dark Ages, the Maya had massive cities like Tikal, with populations reaching 100,000 people. These weren't primitive settlements. They had running water, complex drainage systems, and multi-story palaces that would make modern architects jealous. Their pyramids, some were taller than 20-story buildings. El Mirador had structures that were bigger than anything in Egypt. But here's what really blows my mind: their intellectual achievements. The Maya developed the concept of zero independently. Their calendar was more accurate than the one we use today. They could predict solar eclipses centuries in advance and tracked the movements of Venus with precision that rivals modern astronomy. They were master mathematicians, brilliant architects, and incredible artists. Their writing system was one of the most sophisticated in the ancient world. But around 800 CE, something started going wrong, really wrong. It didn't happen overnight. The collapse was like watching a slow-motion catastrophe unfold over decades. Cities that had been thriving for centuries began to empty. Construction projects were abandoned mid-build. Trade networks that connected the entire Maya world started falling apart. The first signs appeared in the southern lowlands, what's now Guatemala and Belize. Archaeological evidence shows that between 800 and 900 CE, the population in some areas dropped by up to 90%. But here's the really eerie part. They didn't just leave. Many cities show signs of hasty abandonment. Tools left behind, half-finished meals, construction projects stopped midway. It's like everyone just walked away. So what actually happened? Well, it wasn't just one thing. The Maya collapse was what scientists call a perfect storm. Multiple disasters hitting at the same time. First, let's talk about climate change. Climate change was devastating civilizations long before we started burning fossil fuels. Ice core samples and sediment analysis show that between 800 and 1000 CE, the Maya region experienced some of the worst droughts in 2,000 years. We're not talking about a bad dry season. These were mega droughts that lasted decades. Rainfall dropped by up to 40%. Lakes dried up completely. Rivers that had flowed for millennia became dust bowls. Now here's where it gets really scary. The Maya had built their entire civilization around predictable water sources. Their cities were located near cenotes, natural sinkholes filled with water. When those started drying up, entire populations had to move or die. But drought alone doesn't explain everything. The Maya had survived droughts before. What made this different was that they were already pushing their environment to the breaking point. Population studies suggest that by 800 CE, Maya cities were more crowded than ever. They had cleared massive amounts of rainforest for agriculture. Soil erosion was becoming a serious problem. They were essentially trapped in an ecological house of cards, and the drought was the wind that brought it all down. Then there's the human factor. As resources became scarce, Maya city-states turned on each other with a vengeance. The Maya were never a unified empire. They were more like ancient Greece, with dozens of competing city-states. During good times, this competition drove innovation and cultural achievement. But when resources got tight, it became worse. Archaeological evidence shows a massive increase in warfare during the 8th and 9th centuries. Not just small raids, we're talking about total war. Cities were burned, entire populations were enslaved or killed, and trade routes were systematically destroyed. The elite Maya rulers, who had maintained power by claiming divine connection to the gods, suddenly couldn't deliver on their promises. They couldn't make it rain. They couldn't stop the famines. They couldn't protect their people from enemy attacks. Inscriptions from this period show increasing desperation. Rulers who once boasted about great victories were now pleading with the gods for rain. Some inscriptions literally begged the deities to end the suffering. By 900 CE, it was over. The great cities of the southern Maya lowlands, Tikal, Copan, Palenque, were ghost towns. Jungle vines began creeping over pyramids that had stood for centuries. But here's what's fascinating. The Maya didn't actually disappear, they just moved. Northern cities like Chichen Itza continued to thrive for centuries. Maya communities survived in Guatemala, Belize, and southern Mexico. In fact, there are over 6 million Maya people alive today. What collapsed wasn't the Maya people, it was their complex urban civilization. The sophisticated trade networks, the massive construction projects, the elaborate royal courts, all of that required a level of social organization that simply couldn't survive the perfect storm of environmental and political disasters. Now here's where this gets really uncomfortable. Look at the parallels between Maya collapse and our modern world. Climate change, we're literally watching it happen in real time. Over-exploitation of natural resources. We're clear-cutting forests, depleting aquifers, and pushing ecosystems to their breaking points. Increasing inequality and political instability. Unfortunately, it's happening. The Maya collapse shows us what happens when environmental stress combines with political fragmentation and social inequality. But here's the thing. We have something the Maya didn't have. We understand what's happening. We can see the warning signs. We have global communication and the ability to coordinate responses across borders. The question is whether we'll use that knowledge in time. In just the last few years, LiDAR technology has revealed that Maya civilization was even more extensive than we thought. Hidden beneath jungle canopies are entire cities we never knew existed. Some of these discoveries are rewriting the collapse story. We're finding evidence that some Maya communities were actually quite resilient. They adapted their agricultural practices, diversified their economies, and survived the worst of the droughts. The Maya weren't just victims of their environment. Some of them were innovators who found ways to thrive even in the face of catastrophe. So here's what I want to know. Do you see parallels between the Maya collapse and challenges we're facing today? Are there lessons from their experience that we should be paying attention to? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Who found ways to thrive even in the face of catastrophe? So here's what I want to know. Do you see parallels between the Maya collapse and challenges we're facing today? Are there lessons from their experience that we should be paying attention to? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this video made you think about history differently, or if you're fascinated by how ancient civilizations can teach us about modern problems, smash that like button. And if you want to keep exploring history's greatest mysteries with me, subscribe and ring the bell so you won't miss out on future adventures. There's so much more to uncover. The Maya collapse reminds us that even the most advanced civilizations are fragile, but it also shows us cooperation, survival is possible. The question isn't whether we'll face challenges like the Maya did. The question is whether we'll learn from their experience before it's too late.